I like that.
Maybe I should start off by saying memao aha to your listeners as
Yes,
well as to yourself.
I mean, it's good to see me polishing up. Today we're gonna learn. You're gonna teach us about personal accident insurance and claims payment. So, for benefit of further education, what is personal accident insurance? And I want to know if it's different from motor vehicle insurance.
Personal accident insurance is very different from motor insurance, because when you go buy a motor insurance policy, generally speaking, you're looking to protect your motor vehicle against accidents or damages whilst you're driving on the road.
So that is just strictly
to
with
do
the
with
vehicle.
the physical damages to a vehicle.
Okay.
There are motor policies, of course, that would extend some level of personal accident cover, but on a liability basis. In other words, if your driver, Black, hits into someone's car with passengers and he's found to be negligent, then the liability element to the passengers, not in your car, but in the third party, the other car that you cause damage to, they can be compensated. But personal accident is where you voluntarily, as an individual, go and buy a policy because you want protection under insurance for injuries that you may pick up, either from driving a car, from going to work, from riding in a passenger vehicle, from even traveling by air, for as long as you're not a member of the aviation crew. So it's specifically to do with an individual.
So with what you mean is the personal accident insurance, I could be walking on the side of the road and I will trip and twist my ankle or something. Does that cover?
Exactly. So it's a 24-hour policy. It even caters for situations where you could get injured whilst you are fighting in self-defense. So so I think I'm speaking to the women here.
Okay.
So at home, and God forbid that you fight, but if you are caught in a situation where you're fighting in a public place and you are defending yourself, you get knifed or you are injured in the process, and it can be proven that you did not instigate the fight, you could be covered under your personal accident policy. I think away from that, let's look at school children, for instance, going for a sports function and they're involved in an accident. Again, such situations will fall under a personal accident policy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it means that I can walk into any office and say, hello, my name is Black, I want to buy a personal accident insurance, and that can happen.
Absolutely, that's correct. So there are processes, of course, that you have to go through. We need to know your name, we need to know your date of birth, we need to know your
a lot of information.
Well, let's just say, what do you do for a living, for instance?
Okay.
Because we then categorize you in terms of work classifications, and if you're not working, again, what is your vocation?
Right.
And then determine a premium rating based on what you do. Because some people have got a larger exposure. So if you compare someone who's into underground mining to someone who works in an office, those two present two different risk profiles to the insurance industry.
So let's say I have a life insurance, because I know life insurance also covers some stuff, and can I make a claim under a personal accident cover? I know let's say I have life insurance cover, and I know it also pays out in the event of an accident. Can I do that?
Yes, you can. So life insurance, personal accident, workers' compensation, and all those other policies that are to do with a human being, we call them insurances of the person.
Insurances of the person.
Yeah, and we seek to compensate rather than indemnify. So compensation has no limit.
Okay.
Indemnity, on the other hand, and this is not the time to be talking about complicated insurance
terms,
but let's talk about compensation.
Right.
If you have the ability to pay the premium, you can put in as many policies as you require to the extent of your ability to pay the premium. And when you are unfortunate enough to have an accident or to have an injury, you can claim under as many policies as you have put in place.
Oh.
So what you find in organizations is that there could be a group personal accident policy, a workers' compensation policy, and at a family level, you may decide, oh, okay, I want to put in place a permanent personal accident policy for me and my family.
Okay.
So out of those three,
Because I was about to ask that if group companies also buy, this type of a policy for employees.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
So we need to distinguish between a group policy and an individual policy. So
Okay.
if a company goes and buys a group personal accident policy for its employees,
Right.
the insured is the company.
Not the individual.
The individual, because the company is saying, we
Mm-hmm.
value you, Blake, for the services that you bring to Joy FM.
Okay.
And if for some reason one day you were not here,
Mm-hmm.
either because of an injury, we want to employ someone
Yeah.
with the same capability and experience, and I know we will not find that person,
Mhm.
especially to replace you, but we want an insurer to help us to pay you whilst you are recuperating, as well as to bring in someone to stand in for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the element that deals with the company. In the event of a death, the company gets paid the money,
Right.
and at their discretion,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on whether it is a contract, it's incorporated in your contract of employment that you've got personal accident cover, then they'll pay the beneficiaries.
Oh,
But otherwise, the recipient of the funds is the company,
is the
and
company.
then they'll pass on to the beneficiaries. If
Wow. So
Yeah.
does that mean that every employee under the same cover, you must suffer a certain form of injury, death, or an accident before you can get your claims paid?
yeah, so the trigger of cover is that there must be something accidental, and accidental is something that is unforeseen. So self-inflicted injury,
Mm-hmm.
sadly, no cover.
Right.
Suicide or attempted suicide, unfortunately, no cover.
Mm-hmm.
And personal accident policy is one of those that goes into a bit more detail in explaining the cover under the policy,
Right.
as opposed to maybe a motor policy which gives you a one-liner.
Mm-hmm.
Personal accident cover goes
Right.
into a bit more detail
Okay.
to explain what is death, what is permanent disablement, what is temporary total disablement, what is medical expenses. All those elements are covered and they are explained.
So in this case, who's the money paid to? Is it paid to the affected employee, or it goes to the employer?
Well, if it's a group personal accident policy, it goes to the employer. And as I said earlier on, if it's a contractual obligations on the part of the employer
Okay.
to take out a personal accident policy, then
Mhm.
in the event of an injury or death, the benefits will be paid across to the beneficiaries of the employee. But if it's not a contractual obligation, the employer is taking out the policy
Mm-hmm.
to benefit the entity in the event that I'm no
mishap.
longer there or I'm injured, so that they can find a replacement. Yeah.
Wow, we've learned a lot today. Personal accident insurance and claims payment. Thank you very much, Mr. Darlignton Munhuwani from Allianz Insurance. So what's happening at Allianz Insurance? Anything new?
A lot of good things. So Allianz is a global insurance company that comes out of Munich.
Okay.
We have been operating in Ghana for the last 10 years.
Right.
And we recently added a life insurance company. So we are very excited about the future. We provide all types of insurance, personal accident, travel, life insurance, even drones.
Ooh.
And at a time like this in Ghana, where the financial industry is going through a lot of upheavals, cleanup and the like, we are interested in directors and officers in terms of their fiduciary responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
We are also looking at the cyber space, where, from experience, we're seeing a spike in cyber liability or cyber risks, and we do have bespoke insurance covers to cater for, cyber-related risks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of things happening at Allianz Insurance. I want to say thank you also going out to GIA Complaints Management. Thank you to GIA. You can call the GIA Complaints Management and Advice Bureau on toll-free number 0800 44 2000. Insurance companies, claims payment, our business. Thank you very much, Mr. Darlignton, and I want to wish you a lot of luck for the rest of the day.
Well, I need it, man. Thank you very much. It's
You
been
are
good
welcome.
to
You're
hang out
welcome.
with you. Take care.
Keep it locked on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more coming up right here on your superstation.
Drive time on Joy.